The first thing that you have to understand, no matter who you are, is any discussion that is currently going on at any level refuses to take into consideration the complexity of the problem, the nuance, the history, but but more important than anything else. Hang on a minute. More important than anything else is something even more critical. And that's that nobody is interested in the least in discussing Hamas. Nobody. Fox News will talk only about Hamas. That's good. That's it. They only talk about Hamas. That's a start. Everybody else never mentions Hamas. I can mention another, and I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to mention their names, but there are some really great, very, very smart people, and you know who they are, and you will recognize who they are. And I promise you, if I were to mention their names, you would know who they were. Believe me. But they never talk about Hamas, and they're smart because this is terror, and we don't get to the Palestinian issue unless we address Hamas. It's that simple. Let me say this again. The issue that we're talking about now is Hamas. Israel is going after Hamas. Now, you can argue Palestinians are caught in the crossfire. Absolutely. Palestinians are collateral damage. Absolutely. 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 But to Hamas, the Palestinians are human shields. Now, we got to start with that. You got to balance that. And I can mention, there's this one fellow. He's so smart. He knows everything about the history, and he's so good. He never mentions Hamas. He'll talk about white phosphorus in Gaza, Lebanon, and this. Never talks about Hamas. Never. It's as though, according to this show, which everybody would know and everybody recognizes and know, it's as though Israel decided one day, we're just going to go after Gaza right now. We're just going to do this. Why? Years and years of oppression. Anything precipitate this? No, not really. Are you sure about that? No. I saw today, Mrs. L and I were up just sickeningly early, 3-ish. And it was Palki Sharma. It's called First Post. Used to be Wion, W-I-O-N. Still very good. She gave, if ever there was a tutorial, an absolute beautiful presentation, thorough, absolutely plenary, detailed, historically relevant, informative, calm, sober, beautifully worded, in impeccable English. You have no idea how it disgusts me that New York has a mayor who can't speak English. Not because he's from another country, not because English is a second language. He's educated and credentialed, and he can't speak English. Gets verbs wrong, tenses, plurals, leaves letters off. It kills me. If you don't know English, what else don't you know? If you missed grammar and you're in your 60s or whatever the hell you are, what else did you miss? I'm watching foreign new, and they speak perfectly. Do you think I'm being pedantic? You think I'm being priggish? You think I'm being too? I don't think so. If you can't speak English, what else don't you know? What else don't you know? There are some people on Fox News, I'm not going to mention any names, One in particular, imbecile. I don't know why he's there. I don't know why he's there. What are you doing? Teach him how to speak English. Go somewhere else. Go. I'm not talking about an accent. I'm talking about people who can't pronounce words. We don't even care about that. And you expect somebody to understand the history, the nuance, the perspectives of the Levant, about West Asia, about are you kidding? I mean, seriously, it just, I can't believe it. Our media today care more about what a woman looks like in her hair and makeup than whether somebody can speak English. It's just incredible. It means nothing. They're interested in other facets. I never hear anybody talk about Hamas. There's another fellow. I like him. He was going on and on about Israel. You're right. What about Hamas? Huh? What about Hamas? They started this. Well, they were provoked. Provoked to kill citizens? Wait. Wait a minute. Citizens? Dancers at a rave? Kids, old people? Attacking a barracks is one thing. If all of a sudden you said an IDF enclave, an IDF battalion, an Israeli defense, okay, not good, but at least you could say, well, it was theoretically military. Citizens open fire, grabbing them on motorcycles, taking them. You know the stories. I'm not going to go through this. Nobody brings this up. Barry Taylor is the first one who says, you have to admit, in a broader sense, our communication becomes convoluted or misinterpreted. That would be an improvement, Barry. Thank you for that. This is the part that just drives me crazy. Let's talk about Hamas. Hold that thought for a minute, dear friends. Let me remind you that you must follow us, like us, subscribe. You know all of the rules. You know all of this. Hit the like button. It's critical that we get the word out. And also, you must remember that right now, our sponsor, our great friends at My Patriot Supply, where there's a link right now, is providing 25% off a 3-month emergency food kit order. I'm saying this again. I don't even have to tell you why it makes sense to perhaps stockpile and to prepare for some kind of unanticipated disaster by going to preparewithlionel.com. I don't have to tell you that. I don't. You know that. Preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. Save 25% off a 3-month emergency food kit order right now. And also, my friends, don't forget one thing. Another great patriot, another great supporter, our friends at mypillow.com. Use promo code Lionel and receive a free gift. Tautological perhaps, but nonetheless a free gift. No purchase necessary. The sales alone. Look at the slippers. Look at what's happening. Just go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, and your jaw will drop. Use promo code Lionel. And thank you for that. Let us continue. And thank you for being with us and joining us. Let me explain this to you. Imagine during the Vietnam War. I'm against the war. You're against the war. Imagine we're whatever it is. And we find out about Bill Ayers. We find out about the SDS. We find out about the Weather Underground. We find out about some radical group. And they blow up like the Greenwich Village. There was remember the bomb maker where they blew up, or they open fire on innocent civilians or whatever it is. And then they say, what do you think about that? And we say, the Vietnam War is like, wait, excuse me. What do you think about this? The bombing. Well, the Vietnam War, that provoked this? Killing innocent people? You're right. The war in Vietnam is wrong. What? we would have obviously understood the difference. And I'm thinking about these people. I'm not going to mention their names, but they're very popular. Oh, there's one. And everything they're saying is great. They're absolutely correct. By the way, Palki Sharma that he was talking about, white phosphorus, Willie Pete. Yes, go. Again, for the umpteenth time, did Israel create Hamas? Yet we've been through this. What are you trying to suggest? Well, because Israel created Hamas, that therefore the attack? What? Just denounce Hamas. I support Palestine. Thank you. I do too. I support the people, the citizens. Talk about Hamas. They never do. Never. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? I ask you. This is the problem we have. Is it stupidity? Is it obstinacy? Is it contumacy? What is it? What's the reason for it? I don't understand why any of this. I don't understand how MBS, Erdogan, Hussein in Jordan go through the list from Morocco to the Emirates to whatever to get with their folks, turn to Hamas and say, knock this crap off. Now, if they don't do that, they must mean they like it. We're not going to give up on our problem with the Palestinian plight. We're not going to do that. No. We're not going to be into that. We're not in any way going to be forgetting the problem. We must denounce. They don't do it. I stand with Hamas is not the Palestinians. Let me say this again. Hamas is not the Palestinians. You never hear them. You never hear Hamas. You never hear them. They have spokesmen for this, spokesman for that. I never heard more spokespeople in my life. Let's hear from Hamas. Let's hear it. Explain this. Explain this. Explain how the slaughter of innocent people, not a military barracks, not opening. And I'm not in any way countenancing or suggesting that. But unless we figure this thing out, unless somebody addresses this, we're wasting our time. And you can say all these great, please do me a favor. I beg you. And I don't want to I just eliminate this. Stop sending me these boring YouTubes that don't say anything, or Rumble or BitChute or whatever. It doesn't do anything. I'm having there's no clarity I seek. There's no understanding. I want to know what is happening now. Explain to me a little bit. Let's go through the history. By the way, again, if you have to watch one thing, this first post, this Palki Sharma is absolutely superb. Superb. I can't say it enough. It's just you can't believe the level of just how comprehensive it is. Another thing too, I've seen great stuff. If you want to have background with from Al Jazeera. If you don't understand what their position is, you're wasting your time. But then again, you get to these other people, and you'll see somebody burning, and somebody at some rally burning an Israeli flag. That's Fox News. I know that. Somebody holding up certain World War II symbols on iPhones. I know that. You see there's I think it's a Jewish woman or somebody. She's walking with a gun in New York in the waistband. Come on. What are you doing with this? You can't do that. Anyway, that was a big deal. And of course, I'll have people marching with Palestine. March with Palestine. What about Hamas? It's that simple. Listen, let me see if I can explain this to you. There is no end to this unless people just stop it. There's no negotiating unless somebody like an MBS or something, and I think he is critical. There is no end to this unless somebody says, all right, that's enough. Either somebody from higher authority, that goes to Qatar or goes to whatever and tells these people, that's enough of this stuff. You're not going to get any money. That's enough. Stop. Stop. Or somehow they just poop out and get tired and whatever. But there's no negotiation. There's no let's talk to them. Let's find out what they're. No. Doesn't matter because we're animals. We're humans. We walk around and we live in this 5th century prehistoric world where we believe in stuff at all corners of the world. This mystical, magical, fanciful stuff about people in heavens and angels and we're just, and I'm sorry you got to hear this, but that's a problem too. What am I supposed to deal with? There are people walking around who are running the country, who are hearing voices, and my magical guy on a cloud with a beard is bigger and better than your magical guy on a cloud with a beard. It's prehistoric. We're superstitious, ignorant. We can't even speak English. Watch TV. We've got people on TV. Did you see this story about? And this was so obvious. I can't believe anybody even fell for this. But there is this woman. Her name is. Have you seen Clarissa Ward? She's on CNN, and she wants to be the whatever. Good for her. I have a friend of mine who was in love with Clarissa Ward. I have no idea. I never watched her. But she apparently there was a bit of a parody where she is they took it's so brilliantly done. It was parody, it was a lampoon, it was whatever you want to call it. And they took Clarissa Ward diving and wearing a helmet, and they have it sound as though there's a director or somebody speaking to her, telling her how to appear shaken and whatever. Okay, fine. It's obviously a joke. Obviously. And it's on Twitter, and even Elon Musk was laughing because it's obviously a joke. It's a joke. And the post said it's been debunked as it's a joke. You can tell. Please watch this. Have you seen this story? Have you seen it? Just spend some time. We're so stupid. There are some times when you think, wow, that's an they used a picture from 2018 or the wrong war, or they use that. That's hard to tell. A bomb looks like a bomb, looks like whatever. It's fire and buildings and, But there's a toughness. But this is a joke. You can hear the voice of the director, and they had to get Snopes or somebody to debunk it. It's a joke. It's a parody. Are we that stupid? Yes. Yes. Oh, here we go. One day at a time. How did Israel's intelligence not see this coming? It doesn't add up. Let me ask you a question. And by the way, thank you. Is there is there a number? And this is not meant for you, sir or madam, or they, where we are moving on beyond that question. How many times must a man? No, how many times must we do? We've been through that. That's beyond the. We've been through that. But thank you for this. But we've been through that question before. And you can guess and you can whatever it is. And you can say things like, well, does this help the military industrial complex? Yes. What does this do for BB's future? Is BB done? Is BB done? Is he through? I don't think so. Not at all. Maybe people don't want it. BB's kind of like Trump in some respects. People want somebody during war. You want somebody who basically loves war. That's why Lincoln loved U.S. Grant. This guy was an alkie, and he could have not fit in any other walk of life. But when it came to war, he was fantastic. So we know that. But here's the question. And here is the question. What Israel is going to demand now of the people of Gaza is physically, strategically, tactically, practically impossible. Impossible. They're saying you've got 24 hours to move like 1 million people down here. It's not going to happen. So the next question is, if you intend to level this, as you said you would, what does that do to the entire process? What does that do? How does that help? Is that necessary? That is the question. Now, people like Nikki Haley are saying, now, wait a minute, you go in and you just, I think either she or somebody said, maybe not Nikki, somebody said go into Qatar and level Qatar. Oh, that's beautiful. I love people who've never really seen this, been there. So, this is just insane. This is insanity. This is insanity. To say that. So the first question is, and if you think people aren't talking about Hamas now, they're going to ask the following question. Is the terror, because Hamas is a terrorist organization, is the terror attack worth millions displaced, millions killed, whatever the number is? That's the issue. Fox News will say, of course. Of course. Next, do you not find it fascinating? The absolute unquestioning support of Israel on behalf of the Biden administration. It's like nothing anybody has ever seen. It's like nothing. It is beyond. It is intractable. It is unequivocal. It is without peer. It is unbelievable. And Biden has never been clearer or read clearer. They have also used terms to say you cannot mention ceasefire. It's fascinating. So what happens? The question is, so the left, the prototypical left that we speak of, that seems to be clearly, one would say, theoretically anti-Israel, anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian, I guess pro-Hamas, whatever you want to say. Apparently, Biden is telling the left, this is where we part company. This is where we part company. They're also saying something. This is another story. Listen to this. The numbers are in. Guess who's doing well? Fox News and CNN. You know who's doing poor? MSDNC. Yep. And there's this one fellow. MSNBC benches Muslims. Now, this is the way it's stated. A person who I find to be, by the way, he's very smart, very good, but absolutely, to me, just one of the most obnoxious people is Mehdi Hassan. This is from The Scoop, or from, Semaphore. MSNBC has quietly taken 3 of its Muslim broadcasters out of the anchor's chair since Hamas's attack on Israel last Saturday, amid America's wave of sympathy for Israeli terror victims. The network did not air a scheduled Thursday night episode of the Mehdi Hassan show on the streaming platform Peacock. MSNBC also reversed the plan for Ayman Mohyeldin to fill in this week on the network for host Joy Reid's 7 p.m. show. I'm sorry. I know I'm butchering the name, sorry. An Egyptian-American journalist and veteran NBC correspondent covered the conflict from Gaza for 2 years. Some staff at MSNBC has been concerned by the moves, feeling all 3 hosts have some of the deepest knowledge of the conflict. NBC says the shifts are coincidental, and the 3 continue to appear on air to report and provide analysis. Now, this is also interesting. Look at this. Here's another one. AP reporter is, this is according to Fox, a reporter for the AP based in Gaza has a social media history of blasting. There's that word, blasting. Blasting is like bro. It's the word of the week. And it's when somebody excoriates you and execrates your whatever it is. But he is apparently, he was a social media history of blasting Israel as an oppressive apartheid regime, leading to criticism that he can't objectively cover the conflict. An extensive report for Honest Reporting, a media watchdog, laid out Issam Adwan's extensive past of shredding Israel. Shredding, including calling it apartheid. Well, you know what's interesting? There were these folks in Hollywood who for years made fun of and joked about kids and pedophilia. Nobody cared about that. That was a different thing. Now, should that disqualify anything that calls into question or would allow you or make your audience call into question the dare I say the objectivity of it is another story. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, John Zentowski says, you can cut all the flowers, but you cannot keep spring from coming. Interesting. I like that. That is rather nefarious. Not nefarious. That's rather ominous, dare I say. Now let's go back to square one in case you just tuned in. Human beings are stupid. We are really dumb. We're not educated. We have no critical thinking skills. I mean, for the most part, there's a few here and there. We don't understand science or history, and we don't have perspective. We believe in weird religions and stuff that we think are great, but we look at the other people and go, that's crazy. This guy's making a weird chant. This guy's wearing a weird hat. Well, so are you. Well, mine's different. We believe in stuff that's not there, but we think it's there because, and that's the way it is. Now, this is not, I know you're going to say, this is not meant to blast religion, but as long as it's there, this is what we got to deal with. Superstition, mythology, and inculcated belief systems all over the place because there is something called a God gene. I would not be surprised if there was something that made us almost predetermined to believe in various faith systems. Edie Crowley says, heard this one? AJ Provocateur is hired to pose as Hamas to give reason for whatever to attack. Well, Edie, thank you for this. I would not put that past. However, from the limited, and let me say this again, Hamas has been very, very limited in terms of what it has said. There's always a spokesman. There's always somebody who says, well, a spokesman for Hamas. What about Hamas? What about them? Don't they have anybody? Well, we don't really speak. I don't really know who's in charge. I'm not really sure who is indeed in charge. But here is the deal. Since nobody is saying, wait a minute, that's not us. Since nobody is saying that's not us, why would you need an agent provocateur, as we say? Why would you need it? If you would think if somebody said, wait a minute, that's not us. We didn't do that. Or do we say, oh my God, that wasn't us, but they love it. Do you think, let me try this again. Do you hear anything about Hamas? Is anybody saying, yes, they're talking? No, the Mehdi Hassans and others are talking about the Palestinians and about their treatment. Yes, that's over here. We have to keep the focus here. Answer the question here. Let me go back to Vietnam. I was against the war. You were against the war. Yet there were some people who wanted to support the troops, but were against the war. See how nuanced that is? you're against the war, but you support the troops. There were people during My Lai who said, that's horrible. Many of us said, that's horrible. We didn't support the troops and support the slaughter at Pinkville or whatever the other name for it. No. And we also didn't necessarily appreciate or support groups of people and terrorist organizations that acted up and basically hurt and destroyed private property and hurt other people and killed other people. We didn't like that either. See how that works? See how that works? But nobody's talking about Hamas. Nobody. Now, why do you think that is? It's very simple. And why is this different for people to do? Because they can't handle, like Scott Fitzgerald, the sign of a great intelligence is to be able to handle seemingly inconsistent thoughts simultaneously without losing your mind, without losing perspective. It's not an either or. There are people in it. See, people think that Israel is this monolithic organization that everybody walks in lockstep. Read Haaretz. You can't believe what they're saying. Israel Times. Read this. Jerusalem Post is kind of like the New York Post. I mean, there's very people who are certainly Israeli. They're not anti-Semitic. They're not anti-Zionists. So there are some. See, this is the part. There are some incredibly important Jews who are anti-Zionism, and nobody, because that word is kind of like a code word for an insult. So let me go back to where we started from. There's not going to be any end to this. Now, do you think something's going to happen here? Well, I don't think it. I wouldn't be surprised. Nobody will be surprised. And you talk, Edie, about agents provocateurs. If ever there was a place where that would happen, it would be right here, right now. Absolutely. Why is that important? Well, let me tell you why that's important. It's important, okay? It's important because, and this is critical. This is for everybody to understand and to grasp in its entirety. We're talking about people, and we're talking about things, and we're talking about a situation that is so protean, and it goes back to whatever it is, that we cannot imagine how hard it is. Let me rephrase it. Let's go back to 1948, okay? Before Israel, the state of Israel is created, okay? I don't think anybody said at the time, they might have known it, but they might have said, I want you to understand something. From this moment on, this microscopic little dot on the map, from 1948, right? 75 years ago, right here, this is going to be the powder keg. This is going to be ground zero. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. You sure about this? Okay. You do understand this, right? You have claims. They have claims. You have history. They have history. There has been problems since pre-Christianity. Well, actually, I should say that we can go back. And by the way, I commend to you so many lectures on the history of true anti-Semitism, not anti-Israel, but anti-Semitism. It goes back. It's almost in our DNA. It's weird, very strange. Okay, but at that time, I don't think anybody understood. You do know what's going to happen, right? From this moment on, days after or immediately after the creation of Israel, they attacked everybody. Egypt, Jordan, Syria, since day one. It was a beautiful day and an insane day to think that that human beings would sit there and say, listen, Nothing is worth the loss of human life. This is the way it is. The international courts have spoken. There's nothing we can do. We don't have to like these people, but we are all children of God and we must live at peace. Now, no, it was insane. Everybody knew this. Human beings can't do this. They said from the beginning, we are not going to go along with this. And for 75 years, in fact, before that, it's been nothing but this. And we have had these offshoots of people. And there are these others. And I want to tell you about this group called, and I must speak to this, called the left. And it's not all people on the left, but there's one particular group. And it's funny because a lot of the people historically on the left have been Jews, prototypically socialist. Remember, Russia sided initially with Israel because they thought this is going to be, because with the kibbutzim, and that this is going to be this perfect socialist model. And okay, so Jews have historically been more left of center, and this, that. I mean, none of this makes any sense. Okay, so from that moment, it has been held to pay. So there is this professional lefty, the academic, like Victor Davis Hanson says, the BMW riding pseudo-academic, the same one who believes in things like climate change. Their ideology is like a label. Like instead of the Izod, the little alligator, they have climate change. They should have, like race car drivers have, their brand. Climate change, trans rights, diversity, whatever melts their butter. And part of this, because they remember when they showed up to their little parties and their enclaves, and they will say things in order to gain acceptance within the group. The more virulent your hatred of Israel was, the more you're accepted intellectually, ideologically, and the world is your oyster. The cool people on the left, the people at Ivy League schools, all of this, all these folks, all of them are a part of this world. Okay, you got it? All of these folks, all of these people. Okay, fine. Now, what's interesting to note, in addition to everything else, what's fascinating to note, what's critical to note, what I find to be beyond interesting, is that the more they meet, the more the drums are pounded, the more they become enriched and entrenched in this way of thinking. It's absolutely true. And if you could say, you're right about something, I'm sure when you hear Palestinians, either in the West Bank or the Gaza, talk about indignities, problems, loss of life, brutality on the part of IDF. I don't discount all of that. Nonsense. Some people say, it doesn't matter. It does matter. Believe me, the first time a cop gives you the slightest amount of lip, you don't ever say, wait a minute, he might have had a bad day. We need the police. No. Can you imagine this in this world of Karens that we live in? The first time somebody talked, it was interesting. In New York, we're talking about something called congestion pricing, which is going to come about. This is where you are basically charged for driving around in your city. Hasn't hit home yet, but it will very soon. Okay, imagine you are not able to go. You're here. I don't know, but it's like we have Jersey across the river. Okay, we get stopped at a checkpoint, but people in Jersey don't. That would last 5 minutes before all hell would break loose. New Yorkers would go crazy. What? Or if there was a subway, you had one line for New Jersey and a stalled line for New Yorkers. Wouldn't happen. No. Do these people, are they making this up? No. Do they have a point? You betcha. Are they right? Of course they're right. Of course they're right. It's not an either or thing. It's not either they're right or Israel's right. No, you can all be right. Yes, of course. And I'll bet you they'll say, yep, that is. Then you say, but let me explain to you the problem that we have here. If we turn, this is what Israel would say. If we turned our back, if we just said, okay, Gaza, by the way, remember, Israel left in 2005. They are not, here's the thing, they do not occupy Gaza. They left in 2005. Can't be any clearer than that. They left in 2005. You got it? Good. Okay. They left in 2005. You got it? I got it. Okay, good. Make sure you understand that. They left in 2005. Got it. All right. What's interesting to note, and what's fascinating to note, and what's critical for everybody to grasp here is the fact that Israel would say, if we turned our back, Gaza would basically turn into a launching pad, a launching into our country. This is the enemy. We can't and won't let this happen. Are they right or wrong? Are they right or wrong? How does this work? You got to tell me, are they right or are they wrong? How do you see? This is what nobody will talk about. This is the part. And there's one person in particular I love. He's very eloquent. I would say, do me a favor. Tell me, let's go, you and me, and fix this Gaza. Let's go and what would we do? What would you tell Israel? And by the way, a lot of these people I'm talking about too are Jewish, and you don't have to. It's not that Jewish people are in solidarity with this, but it doesn't matter. But they would say, "Well, I've been to Gaza. I know you've been to Gaza, and I know you're smarter than I am. What would you do? Tell me. I'm going to bring you in. You're going to sit with Bibi or whoever it is, Herzog, and you're going to sit and you're going to answer the question. What do you do? What do we do? How do you protect him? Do you just say, sorry, Israel, you have no say in this? Sorry. How does this work? How does any of this work? Explain this to me. That's the part that's the most difficult. They won't know. They'll say, well, no. You've got to work with me on this. Israel's turning to you. They will leave Gaza alone or whatever you want, but they'll show you tunnels, rockets. Hamas is there. What do? You can't allow this. These people, these geniuses who have great podcasts, great platform, they don't know what to say. They have nothing to say. Their only thing is, my job is not to provide answers. My job is merely to provide, I just say stuff. You just say stuff. Yeah, I just say stuff. I kind of just say stuff, and that's it. I say stuff. But are you going to talk about Hamas? I don't talk about Hamas. I denounce it. Well, you denounce it, but they're not going anywhere. Who funds them? And they will look at you and they'll say, look, I don't care about this. My job is to blast Israel. Blast Israel. That's what I do. Okay, I got it. Talk about the occupation. Okay, I got it. So you have nothing to say about Hamas? Nothing. Should Israel just what? This is intractable. Do you see what's happening? They don't answer anything. This is what you hear. And please, I just throw into I hate these videos of people who just say nothing. You answer that question for me. How do we figure out, how do we come to some type of connection, some type of I don't know what the word is, some type of resolution? There is no resolution. You hear what I'm saying? There is no resolution. The only answer is if other people, the BRICS plus 6, MBS, somebody sits down and says, we're going to stop this. And then, and only then, if somebody says to Israel, I'm going to give you my word, you are not going to have any problems with Hamas. If that's possible, theoretically. I'm going to say something right now that is just beyond the realm of possibility, but I'm going to just say it. We are telling you, listen to what we are saying. It's very important, very critical. We promise you nothing will happen from us if you pull out of whatever. Fine. Maybe that's a chance. Maybe. Silver Fox says, have MBS broker a deal with Bibi and LCC to eliminate Hamas and establish a new regime. MBS is king. Thoughts? Well, that's kind of sort of maybe what I'm saying. I don't care how. I think MBS, by the way, Fox, thank you. I think MBS would love that in terms of his own particular positioning. But either way, and I say this again, dear friends, either way, none of this is going to be even remotely possible, unless and until, and I say this again, unless and until this situation is somehow dealt with. Period. End of discussion. End of discussion. And what is the most problematic, what is the most frightening, what is the most scary is that we're not even there yet. Because right now we're just saying the same stuff over and over and over. We're just saying, we're just repeating, there's nothing new. There's nothing at all that's being, I don't know what the word is. There's nothing that is being remotely discussed in terms of improving anything. Nothing. It doesn't exist. We're at a stalemate. We're just saying the same stuff. And I'm going to say to you what I said initially. It's more than just going on, TV and having the Israel part and the Palestinian part without talking about Hamas. They don't discuss Hamas. It's that simple. That simple. And unless you do, we're wasting our time. Period. All right, dear friends, I want to thank you for this. This is a tough day, but we're here to talk about it. Silver Fox, Edie Crowley, John Zentowski, thank you. One Day at a Time, thank you. And Barry Taylor, thank you so much for your kindness, for your thorough thought and the like. It means a lot to me. We will be with you tonight again at precisely 7 p.m. for us to continue with this. Make sure you follow our channel. Make sure you subscribe to us. I can't say it enough. Remember, of course, our great sponsors. My Patriot Supply. Save 25% off a 3-month emergency food kit. Order right now. This deal will not last forever. The link is provided, preparewithlionel.com, and also our friends at mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, and receive a free gift, okay? As opposed to a gift you pay for, which is tautological, I recognize. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. Have a great and glorious day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Be well. Keep thinking. And don't forget these words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.